All right, so props and state lab. All right, so this is one of those labs where it all kind of comes together in the end. Overview, you'll build a small React application where you'll update state in response to an XHR payload and pass props among components to handle updates. Time to put all of our hard-earned knowledge to the test. This lab is fairly big and will require you to use everything you've learned up to this point. Don't be intimidated. There are plenty of tests to guide you along the way. In this lab, we'll be working on a front end for an animal shelter. Sadly, there still are way too many cute pets without any owners. Let's help them out by creating a UI in React. On a high level, you'll be working on several components that form the UI of the animal shelter adoption application. Users can filter for pets by type and can adopt a pet of their choosing. Once a pet is adopted, they cannot unadopt it. No backseats. There are several components that need your attention. All these components can be found in the components folder. All right, source, in the source components folder, components. All right, 4 components. Starting with the smallest one and working our way up. Okay. Even though we're using fetch here, its responses have been mocked in order to make the test work properly. That means it's important to use the exact URLs described above or your test will fail. Okay. All right. So let's look through this. Pet. Should have a pet prop. Use the attributes in this data to render the pet card correctly. It should show the pet's name, type, age, and weight based on the pet's gender. The component also needs to contain either male or female symbol. Should have an is adopted prop. Using this prop, should have an unadopted callback, unadopted pet callback prop. Okay, so let's start looking at the structure of this app. So we have our app.js, which is going to be the parent. Then we have filters. Okay, and filters is its own thing. And then we have a pet browser. And then pet browser has the pet component. All right. So we have app, which has filters and pet browser has pet. So I like to get a kind of a feel for the structure of the whole app before I really get diving into it. This looks off. Oh, component should go here. So yeah, I guess it's supposed to look like that. Component should go here. So that's definitely not the way it's supposed to be right now. Let's look at what we have. Where are we? All cats. Oh, components should go here. Huh. Dogs. Okay, so this is the filter. So I think in this instance, well, let's also get our tests going. We got our server running. I guess we can run test. Okay, and it looks like this is watching, so that's good. I'm thinking that I want to start with the filters because this will be the easiest thing to refactor. Let's see what we're saying about filters. Should have a filters prop that contains all of the filters in the app state. See below. Okay, so it looks like we need to change something in the app state first. Okay. Hook up this value to the select component. Should have an onChange type callback prop. This callback prop gets called whenever the value of the select element changes. It calls the onChange type callback prop with one argument. The value of the select should have an onFindPets click callback prop. This callback prop gets called when the users click the Find Pets button. Okay. So we want to have this filter that's going to have only the filters that are in the app state. So we're going to pass that down as a prop. Then we're going to have 2 callback props. So, okay, I don't think it's as horrible as it sounds. Let's look at, all right, and then let's see what this says. On change type prop, we're not worried about that yet. On find pets click, not worried about that. The app's initial state is already defined. Pass the right state properties to filters and pet browser components. Okay, so the state's defined already. Okay. All the filters. So what are the filters? The filters are the type of pets. Right? Let's see. Right state properties to the filters. Okay. No, we want to work with this filters. Okay. So, on app, we want to pass that. So let's start passing things. So let's say filters, or actually, let's look at our tests. All right, filters. Finding pets should call. Animal type should set the value of the animal type select to the right filter value. Okay. So when we change that, we're going to have this static list. And when we change it, it's going to call the callback function, which is going to change this. Okay. So filters can be this.state.filters. And then our README tells us we need two callbacks. On change type. Equals something we haven't built yet. And on find pets click, something else we haven't built yet. Okay. And then our filters is going to have type select. All right, we have our select. Find pets click. We're going to need an on change. Handle change. All right. Let's build this out. On change type callback prop. So we're thinking about what we would do here when we pick a different one. And we're going to call that as a callback and change that in this component state. So let's call that handle change filter type. I like being very descriptive to hopefully rid confusion. So we're going to do this, dot set state. Well, let's also call this. By the way, if you have any questions, comments along the way, throw them out there. And I'll be happy to stop and go and keep talking or throw them in the chat. I typically say that when I start the study group, and I just forgot to this time. So we're going to call that this set state. We're going to add filters. And I think we'll stop there for now. Let's see where we implement this now. So we have our onChange type, which is going to be when this drop down changes. We want it to change in the state. So type value this dot props dot filters dot type. So we're saying that the drop down list, the select list, is going to be equivalent to whatever the current state filter type is. So when we change that, change, it will be reflected. This dot handle change. Because onChange type and then we can call a callback here. Handle change. That's going to be this dot props dot on change type on change type. Yes. We're just going to pick up target value. And I think that should be working now. No. Oh, we have an empty component. Let's just get rid of that for now. Okay. So that's working. React DevTools, I think, are a key here. Did it show anything? There we go. All right, filters. Empty object, that's not good. Type all. Oh, we didn't. We haven't set this part up yet. Filters, and then we want to take passing back this target value to here. And since it's an object, we're going to say this dot state dot filters and set the type to that which it's sending back. All right. Hopefully this changes to cats. Cat. Dog. Micropeg. Okay. Oops. I want to make this bigger. There we go. So we've got that connected. Now to our next part. And I wonder if any tests are passing. Oh, this is a long list. Wow. It keeps refreshing. 16. So I think we had 19 failing before. Yes. Okay. Back to our code. So now we need to connect this other callback on find pets click. And here's our button that we're going to have to implement. So this one should be pretty straightforward to implement on this component. On click equals this dot props dot on find pets click. All right. And I think that might be it for this filters component. So let's call, where's we at? This dot, let's call it find pets. We'll create our find pets function. All right, now find pets. What's supposed to happen with find pets? On find pets click prop, you pass it into it. The app component should fetch a list of pets using fetch. Okay, the URL of the API is \API pets with an optional query parameter. If the type is all, send a request to pets. If the type is cat, send a request to type cat. Dog, micropig, finally set the pet data on the state property pets to properly pass them to the pet browser component. All right. So we need a fetch here. Probably, all right, let's say, let URL equal API pets. So we're thinking, you know, this is the base. We want to call that if the type is all, but we want to call it with a query parameter if the state isn't all. So let's say if this.state.filters.type is not equal to all, we want to do URL and just add on to it this type. What is it? Type equals the name of the filter. Type equals, and then, oh, let's do our backtick so we can do our string interpolation here. Get that. Otherwise, we just leave that URL alone, and then we want to fetch URL. And we want to take that response and I wonder if, where's the test? We can see how the data is coming back without having to dig too deep. Fetch setup. Pet generator, huh? Let me assume it's JSON. Although, let's see. Console. Fetch mock. Unable to get static JS bundle. Let's see. JSON.json, results.json. Let's see what we have now. Should be listing of pets. Pets. All right. This is undefined on line 31. This is undefined. Oh, we haven't bound this to anything yet. I think this will do it. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Getting an array of objects. Sweet. Yes, so arrow functions will implicitly bind this for you inside of them. So that's a function of arrow functions, or a feature of arrow functions, that they implicitly are binding this for you, whereas regular functions don't do that. And that can actually be found, they show this. You can't do that on everything. Handling events. But if you go to this reactjs.org docs handling events, it's a good reference. It's going to show that you have to bind. And then it says, if calling bind annoys you, there are two ways that you can get around this. If you're using the experimental public class field syntax, you can use class fields to directly bind callbacks. If you aren't using class fields, you can use arrow function in the callback. This syntax is enabled by default in Create React App. And from my understanding, looking at the package .json, this script, React scripts, is part of Create React App. So that's going to be enabled for this lab. However, that is something to know, that if you don't have that enabled, you can't use that, but you can do this arrow function in the callback. Yeah, I found that sometimes I like binding it. It keeps, when you have a bunch of them up here, you kind of can see them, but to each their own. I think you see I don't like it that much because I'm not doing it right now, but
Okay, I could actually unmute myself now. I just had to get a quieter place, so just
cool.
Not to scare you, but I just start talking.
Oh, no problem.
Okay.
Cool. So we got our array of objects right here. So we're going to want to make that the whatchamacallit, the pets. So this set state pets. Comma expected. What's it looking for?
Do you need one after fetch URL?
Shouldn't need a comma.
Oh, not a comma.
Yeah, this is saying a comma is expected. I don't know why would we be looking for a comma? Oh, I'm missing a parentheses right here. One more closing. If we close off this then. Okay. I think that can be like that too. Because there isn't an event. Oh, I guess there's no console log anymore. Let's see if we have pets. Yeah, array. Okay. So we have our array of objects now. And 14. 8 passing. Okay, so we're moving along. I think filters is done. So that's one component. Now these are all kind of interconnected from here on out. So trying to think of the best way to go about attacking this. Whether it's starting from pet and working backwards or starting from app and working forwards, what I view as forwards. I think we'll start from app and build the things and pass them all to pet. And hopefully it makes sense. I guess we'll find out. All right, app. So we've got these taken care of. Filter, 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 or filters and filters. So the app's initial state is ready to find. Pass the right state properties to filters and pet browser components. Should have a pets prop. And the other two are and an adopted pets prop. Okay. So we're going to have pet browser. Here we go. Pet browser. Pets and adopted pets props. And these should be just pieces of state. This.state.pets. Oh, get inside of that. This.state.adopted pets. So those two are pretty straightforward. And then an onAdopt pet prop. This callback prop gets passed to the pet children components. All right. And so we have an onAdopt pet prop. So we got 1, 2, and 3 taken care of. So that's going to add the pet ID to the adopted pets array in the state. Okay. So we're going to have like we're going to have we're going to say cats, we're going to say find pets, we're going to have all these cat cards here. And when we click adopt on one of them, we're going to pass back the pet that we just chose and add it to the adopted pets array. Okay. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here with this function. So I think let's call this handle adopt pet. I don't think these are supposed to have certain names. No, okay. Fetching pet should fetch pet types using the type parameter based on the filter. Doesn't look good. Okay, we'll keep going. Handle adopt pet. All right. I've got a function. So we're going to pass back a pet ID and add it to the adopted pets array of state. So I don't think this is too complicated of logic here. We should just take our adopted pets, which is an array. And we can use our spread here and say this.state.adoptedPets. Tack on the new pet. And that should add it in there. We'll run with that. See where it gets us. All right, so we have our pet browser now. Calls the onAdopt pet prop you pass to it. Add the pet ID to the adopted pets array in the state. Maybe we'll say pet ID here. Pet ID. Oh, and we need to make sure that this is referenced correctly, because that's going to be what's getting passed to it. Okay. I think that'll work for actually passing the pet ID and not the whole pet component. All right, so pet browser. Class pet browser extends React component. We're looking good. Render. Okay. So here we want to have a whole bunch of pet cards. So before our return, we can set that up. We can say const pets equals this dot props dot pets. Right, pets, all the pets. All right. And we're going to map them to create an array. Inside there, we'll have each pet and its index, so we can set up our keys. What's that saying? Semicolon expected. Oh, we need that. All right, so now we have each pet. Let's go ahead and look at what a pet consists of. I don't want to store it as a global value. I just want to copy it. It's not as. Okay, so now we have something to kind of reference. So, pet card. Pet should have a pet prop. Use the attributes in this data to render the pet card correctly. It should show the pet's name, type, age, and weight, and then based on the pet's gender. Okay. So we're going to have a pet prop, which is going to be equal to the pet object. We're going to have a key, which is equal to the index, unique key. Is adopted and on-adopted pet. Okay. So on-adopted pet is the callback coming through pet browser. Yes. So on-adopt pet is going to be this dot props dot on adopt pet. And then what was the last thing? Should have an is adopted prop. Using this prop, render the correct button if the pet's in the pet's card if the pet is adopted. Or if the pet is adopted, show the disabled button. Otherwise, show the primary button to adopt the pet. Okay. So I think a solid way to solve this, we need our is adopted. And let's turn this into a Boolean. So it's going to be either true or false. So this props pets, no, this props adopted pets, adopted pets, right? We have that. Yes, we passed adopted pets. So now we have our adopted pets array. Let's say includes pet.id. Okay. So we're saying this.props.adopted pets. So we're taking the whole list of adopted pet IDs. And we're checking if that array of IDs includes the current pet object's ID number. And if it does, we're going to say true, which means it is adopted. And then right here, we can call this array pets. We should have a bunch of pet cards. All right. Oh, this is pretty put together for us. I didn't realize. Just put some logic together. All right. Got to fill these things in. So let's see where. Oh, so it's not blank anymore. Let's see if we get cards. No. Okay, that's fine. Undefined. Okay, so let's see what else we got going on. Let's look at our tests again. 13, 9 passing, 13 failing. This app is still throwing an error. Using the type parameter based on the filter. I feel like something's going wrong with our filter. Cannot read property props of undefined. All right, so let's see what's going on there. Render this.props.pets.map. This was before. Pet browser test JS 34 JS. All right, let's get back to here. Fetching pets should fetch pet types using the type parameter based on the filter. Okay. Let's back to app. Filters. Type all. All right. Let's look at our filter again. So we know that our handle change works, and on find pets click fires. So that's pretty straightforward. Find pets. Filters updating. All cat, dog, micro pig. Dogs. All right, so we should have less than 35 now in pets. Are you dogs? No. Okay. All right, so it's only doing all. All right. It's like, this is never happening. All right, there we go. We figured out where our error is at, because we see that if we change the filter, we're not getting anything. But if we leave it as all, we're getting all. So kind of narrowed down where to look and troubleshoot. Oh, it's equal plus. It needs to be plus equal. There we go. That should fix some things. 12. Okay. It looks like that app. Yeah, our app is passing now. Sweet. So that's good. So now when this is cats, all right, array of 9, dogs, array of 22, micro pig, 4, all 35. Okay, so that's working right now. Cool. Now, let's see about this. Render pet components based on its props, should determine is adopted prop. Let's get the pet hashed out first. Render the name, correct gender, pet type, pet age, pet weight, and then the buttons. All right, let's get through kind of the UI things first. Passing the pet prop. So pet name. All right. Pet name. Let's set up some variables instead of just calling everything by props. We'll use our mass assignment. And then name, type, gender, age, weight. And that should set all those up for us. Yeah. So now we can just call name, type, age, weight. Name, type, age, weight, your gender. All right. I guess it wants it to stay like this. Or maybe it just wants. I'll make this a ternary. So gender equals male. Then we're going to render this. Or we'll render that. Yeah, I don't think it wants the gender text and a colon there. I could be wrong. 6. Okay. Okay, so yeah, gender and all that's working right. Apps working, filters working, pets working. So we just got the last couple pieces. So if it's not adopted yet, only show the adopt button. So we need some logic around which button to show. So we can throw a little bit of JavaScript logic here. So we know that HTML is always considered true. So if we throw an and into these, whatever the first half of this logic is true, then it's going to show this HTML. Otherwise, it's not going to show it because it's going to consider it false. So if we say when this is not, when not is adopted is true, it'll show the adopt button. And when is adopted is true, it'll say already adopted.
Is there a name for that?
I don't know that there's a name for it. It's just a pattern
Okay.
to do that. And I see it all over the place in React. When you have something that, there's a Boolean that's going to decide if you want something to show or not, or maybe there's a value. So, if something is greater than 6, but something that'll return true, and then you just do this and that'll make it show up.
Okay, cool.
You're welcome. And 4. Okay, so that took care of those buttons, I think. Yeah, button. Okay. So pet should call the unadopt pet callback prop when the adopt button is clicked. So let's set that up. Button on click. And what is it? This dot. We could set this up like we did the filter. Let's say handle adopt pet. We call this handle adopt pet. And we can work with it here. And we passed on adopt pet, it looks like. So we're going to have up here this dot props dot adopt pet. And this is where we're passing in the pet ID. Unadopt pet callback prop. This callback prop gets called with the pet's ID. Okay. And that will be this. Oh, because we're in a singular pet. The pet object. This dot pet dot ID. That should pass that to here, which should pass that to here. Should get the pet ID and add it there, which in turn adds it to this adopted pets, which will change that back here. Okay, let's see what we're looking at now. 4, okay. So cannot read property ID of undefined on components pet.js line 9. Okay. Oh, we need props. Because that pet object is available down here in this render, but it's not available here. It's in the props still. So let's see. 2. Sweet. We're down to 2. Okay. So pet browser is not rendering pets. And should determine the is adopted prop for its children based on its adopted pets prop. I thought that's what we were doing here. Determining the is adopted prop based on the adopted pets prop. I wonder if we have to do it a little bit differently or something to get it to pass. Okay, let's figure out what's going on and why we're not rendering pets. Well, let's see if we are. And maybe it's just a test. No. Okay. So it's in pet browser somewhere. All right, expected an assignment or function call, pet browser line 8. What is pet browser line 8? Expected to return a value in arrow function. Need to return this? Is that what's missing? Maybe. We lost 2 of our errors. Is that it? Was that it? Yes. Okay. So we need to return each of those components into that explicitly. And then we do adopt pet, already adopted. It moves into the adopted pets array. Cats, find cats, adopt it, moves into the array. Awesome. And then if we want to just clean up these 2 little lines, it's saying there's a uses constructor and a uses constructor because these are pretty much stateless components in pet and in filters. So if we wanted to get rid of those.
I'm not sure how much time's left. Because I know you probably have to end soon. I just had a quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
So, for the filters, just from like a user experience standpoint, it seems like you'd want to somehow show the query parameters in the URL. Is that something that would be more of a Redux task, or?
So you're saying like
yeah, so that if somebody refreshes the page, the filters don't get reset.
Yeah, that's going to be a React router thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So since we're doing everything in JavaScript, we have to explicitly tell the route what we want it to be.
Okay.
And we kind of I don't want to say mess with, we explicitly change that when we want it, and we exchange it to what we want it to change to, and we manage that history and everything else explicitly. So that's something that React Router can work with, or there's other ways around it to work with the actual URL. I've set up React pages where you can read the URL from the window global component in the browser, if I'm remembering right. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And I think if you have params, there's like window dot, there's some other things you can call on window. It has some properties. So you can call like window.url and, filter off the front half of the URL and get params, and then take those params and, in like a component did mount or component will mount, and set part of your state based on that param that's in the URL. And then your React components will respond accordingly.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah. Do you have any other questions? I know I'm running a little bit long, but I was going to do this one until it was done, and I actually was surprised that I got finished like right on the hour. But I don't want to deprive you of question time just because.
Yeah, no. This was super helpful for me. So, but yeah, no, I don't have any questions. But thanks, though.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, great. And then you said you're going to post this video?